We're live on YouTube.
What's up, YouTube?
And we're now live on the Twitter space. If you guys could jump into the Twitter space and I'll add you up as speakers, that would be great. Definitely let me know if I didn't add you up as speakers, by the way. I think it was you, Alyssa, last time, right?
Oh, I felt bad last time.
No worries
I
at
don't
all.
want to be annoying and be like, I'm using speakers. So just
No, be annoying. That's what this is for.
like,
We got Sinbad in the room hanging out.
oh, wait, sorry. You don't want to be doxxed?
Oh yeah, definitely mute.
Oh, it was me. My bad.
You're good. All good.
Um,
Matteo, I just added you up as a speaker too on Twitter.
No worries. Excuse me?
I just added you as a speaker too on Twitter.
No, you didn't.
I'm adding you again.
Sorry. Okay, done.
And Molly adding you as speaker.
Word.
Oh no, I can mute on Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
That's me. And we are all set, guys. Want to thank you for jumping back on. We got our crew at Station 3, some incredible artists all around. I always kick it off with like in one order, so I'm gonna go backwards this time. We got Matteo Purple, the founder and artist of Smilingness NFT. Got some cool stuff that we're gonna be talking about this week on some shows and work he's displaying. We also have Alyssa Stevens, the incredible artist behind The Collective and some other work that she's got going on. And we got Molly McCutcheon, a hooper who also draws and makes some badass stuff as well. So, no, we chopped it up last week. Excited to have you guys back on.
Same.
Is it gonna be a weekly appointment?
Up to you guys. We can talk about it more, but I do love this crew, so we can definitely run this as much as we would like. Nonetheless, going to throw it over to Alyssa first. Alyssa, I heard that there's a one-of-one that you've been working on that's dropping in a foundation world. Are you going to tell us about it or what?
Yeah, I mean, I just finished it like literally yesterday. I have two pieces that I'm still kind of deciding between, to be honest, but it's going to be in 500 World on Foundation in 2 days, the 31st. I think we're going to be doing a space in potentially tomorrow talking more about it, so I'll tweet about it. But yeah, I haven't even titled it yet, so I'm still kind of working on that. But do you want to see it?
I'll give you the title.
Okay. It's a physical piece. Wait, no, I shouldn't show it yet, probably. I'm gonna wait. But it's a physical piece that I did, and it's kind of like in my style I've been doing more recently. That's very like detailed, pen on paper, abstract faces, all kind of cool. So I'm really excited about that.
Let's go. And pinning that up to the space in a moment. Also, we'll be pinning up the YouTube live stream link as well as the Twitter space link. We are live on YouTube, guys. So catch these pretty faces on YouTube once I pin up the link in a moment. If you are like on the move or whatever, definitely tune into the Twitter space. And if everybody could please share as well, definitely want to get as much turnout for the wonderful artists up here. So pinning that up now. But 500 World, Alyssa, what's 500 World about? Is there like a particular concept around it?
There's not really a theme, but it's my friend who's an artist. His name on Twitter is 500. I don't remember the exact handle, but he's an artist and he's just like launching a world, and there's 5 of us that are creating art for it, and it's just kind of like artists from all over the world. I know one of them is from like Brazil, one's from LA, so just kind of artists all over the world, and it's a pretty open concept.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm just pinning it up now. Excited to take a look. Do we know who the other artists in the world are yet? Or are you not able to share?
Yes. No, we did announce it. I honestly would have to look at the tweet. I know one of them, his name is Chago. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And then I'm so bad, I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's a tweet, and I'll be tweeting more about it in like the next day or two.
Gotcha. And I think that's so sweet. Definitely looking forward to that. 8:31. We'll be keeping an eye out for it. Also know that Matteo right next to you has some cool stuff going on this week. I believe he's the only Web3 artist, digital artist displaying at Soiree Henzo on Thursday, an event that will be located in Chelsea. So definitely come out if you guys are in New York City. But Matteo, what do we have going on Thursday, man?
So like there is this guy He does an event every month in a nice location in Chelsea for like 100 artists. And I don't know. I think it's like the concept is like why the artist should pay the galleries to rent the space or like to display the artwork. And it's like I don't know, paying $10 each artist to display the artwork. So he's paying the artist. Apart from that, I went the previous month, and there was a lot of people. The vibe were good, DJ, drinks, and stuff. And I met him, and they said, "Look, here you're missing like a display. Like where is the screen?" So after talking about that, I'm gonna show a few smiley in the exhibition.
Do they do that every month?
Yeah.
Hell yeah! Do you know which smiley you're rolling with this week?
I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking because the series is like also with some collaboration. I mean, like other artists making a smiley. I'm still thinking what to show all of them. They're like 15, so it's gonna be easy. Or if I should pick and choose which one to show. I don't know. I'll see.
Gotcha. That's sweet. I don't know. I think we're all gonna have to roll into that artist studio in a bit and look at some smileys and figure out which one. Give our thoughts on them. But that's sweet, man. Definitely looking forward to the event. Wanted to ask you guys on that topic of galleries essentially charging artists to like display their work. Have you guys experienced that? Have you like worked with any like IRL galleries that made that request of you or no?
I refuse to. Like every time I had an opportunity that I applied for, and then they were like, "Yeah, you have to pay like hundreds of dollars." And I was like, "That's really kind of the whole opposite reason of why I'm in Web3." Like I'm trying. I don't know, because I've had a lot of opportunities to have my art exhibited for free, so it's like I don't want to do anything where I have to pay. I just feel like the artists in the past haven't been treated fairly, and I don't want to like keep doing that.
I can understand like a commission from the sale from an artist or like a curator and stuff, but like you need to pay to display means like the gallery is not even believing you, so they're just renting out a space.
Yeah, I completely understand that. What about you, Balls?
There's like a lot of sirens.
We'll give Balls a sec to get past the sirens.
Anyway, I feel like Web3 NFT is what is all about. Like artists, they can reach collectors without galleries, without somebody else.
Yeah, exactly. And it's cool. It's also just like I feel like you have so many opportunities to display work in Web3 just because there's, foundation worlds now, there's super rare spaces. You can also like launch your own digital galleries on places like Spatial and OnCyber, etc. Which makes it really, really cool and accessible, I think, for artists all around to display work. But Molly, I see you got is your mic unmuted now? Are we past the sirens?
Yeah. I'm at my Airbnb right now in Soho, and so there might be some sirens doing there. I haven't worked with the IRL gallery yet. I will when the right one comes to me, and it's a win-win situation, Yeah, I think like Web3 literally exists because of this problem, and yeah.
Molly, I want to kick it to like talking about working with Web 2 galleries. I want to get your thoughts on the importance of like essentially like displaying work in both Web 3 and Web 2. Do you feel like it's important to do both, or any additional thoughts there?
Yeah. Just a moment. Let me move my phone away from it.
Gotcha. No worries.
Yeah, I definitely think it's important. I think if you're a physical artist, if you're a traditional artist and you have traditional works and that's like your main thing, like myself, then yeah, like there has to be that introduction into the traditional world at some point, because that's just the healthiest thing at the end of the day for the art. I think that Web3 offers like really unique connection and sovereignty. And I've seen artists leverage that and you know, be able to surpass and achieve like what would originally take them years to achieve in the traditional world, whether it's just like getting your work seen by the right people, getting it collected for whatever, you know, quantity, price, whatever. Like, I think that that's the power of Web3, is that like you really are like your own, you have like full control technically, unless you choose to work with people. But yeah, I think that physical artwork should be seen physically at the end of the day.
Yes.
Because you're creating it physically. Like the process, the product is literally physical. And there's just a little bit of like a cutoff when it comes to sticking with digital only. So like personally, yes, it's a goal of mine to work with, you know, traditional galleries, traditional people, collectors, whatever you want to call it, museums. But I think that doing and building what I have just through Web3 is I couldn't have done that in the traditional world nearly this quick. You know, so I think that it's going to give me a really good starting position, or I don't know what you want to call it, to like enter the traditional world and then have both. I do want to always have both, you know.
For sure, to show like an original piece like on a website is not the best. Like, will never give you justice.
Yeah.
If it's like in a traditional artwork, yeah.
For sure. It's cool to see like all of you guys IRL now and like get to see your physical work, because I do think that there's this perception outside of Web3 that these like the artists that sell their artwork as NFTs or that are in Web3 are like digital artists. And you guys are all making like really, really cool physical stuff. If we take a peek at what's on Alyssa's wall in the back right, we could get a glimpse of some of that. And I know, Matteo, you're also working on a physical for this show on Thursday, Soiree Enzo, which I think is awesome, man. Want you to talk about that, just because. So I am like familiar with the person who runs the show from shooting a documentary on some of two painters that function more in like the Web2 space. And really, really cool. It's been cool to watch that show grow a bit, because it started as like apartment parties that just like all of the art community in New York City was coming out to. And it went from like a few months ago, just these like growing apartment parties, to like all of a sudden being at a gallery in Chelsea. And now they're doing another one this week. So definitely recommend people come out. But Matteo, you being literally, I think, the only Web3 artist there and the only one showing a digital work that day, you're also showing a physical piece as well. So can you tell us about the physical piece, and also just like the meaning of that, being able to kind of have a,
Well, yeah.
fields?
I mean, I'm a little scared. Like probably 98% of the people won't understand. Even if the display will have like all the description, how it's made, you know, the medium and stuff. So I was also working on my next artwork, and it's physical first, then digital. So I'm gonna bring it with me, just to show to someone who's like interested, or like someone that is curious to know more about NFT.
I think that's awesome, man. I'm really looking forward to just like artists at the Web2 artists at that event, getting to like meet you guys and realize that like you guys make physical work and you're artists just like them, and realize that like the gap isn't so big as some may perceive. But I think the piece is called, or I'll let you share the piece name if you'd like, but can you tell us about the piece that you're working on, the physical?
I mean, also because I don't have any physical of my previous work. Like all my pieces are like sold already, so I need a new one. But yeah, I'm working on this. Every piece is like a concept piece, so this is like color by number. And fun fact, a month ago I went to Andy Warhol exhibition here in New York, and he also did some pieces like with this like team like of coloring book, like color by number. I was already working on this of this, so it was like a confirmation for me. Nothing. I don't actually have a name yet. I'm thinking. I don't know. All the pieces are like the title is around smiling, positive. I don't know. And since like coloring is actually very relaxing for me, also for other, I think it's gonna be something there.
Gotcha. Do you guys, I want to ask both of you guys because I feel like Alyssa and Molly, from a lot of your work seen, I've seen a lot of like monochromatic stuff, but I've also seen you guys work some different colors like reds into your work a bit here and there. Do you guys also feel the same way about colors as Matteo said, that it's like kind of therapeutic putting color into your work, or any thoughts there?
I feel like I go through phases. Like right now, I'm really in a black and white phase where I'm doing a lot of physical pieces like black ink or like black acrylic marker, like paint markers on paper. And I feel like that's kind of how I started when I started creating more abstract art, was just like black and white on paper. And then sometimes I go through phases, like especially with my digital art. I made so much colorful art in my first collection. Interconnected Planes was very colorful digital art. So I feel like it kind of just depends, and I go through phases. Like right now, I find like just using like my black Posca marker on paper, like that's very therapeutic too. But colors can also feel that way.
Love that. And how about you, Moles?
With colors, yeah, I think like a lot of the work that I've been doing in the past 2 years has been a lot more shades of different charcoals. And then there will be like some browns in there. And, you know, I have experimented with like a couple different colors in a very minimalistic way. But I don't know. I think that I don't really view it any different from using shades. When it comes to the actual process, I think like, you know, just like how like a darker gray shade can like bring out a different emotion than like using a white. I think that that same thing applies to when I have like a red pastel or like a brown charcoal or something that I decide to pick up during a piece. I think it's just a different emotion. I think that colors really depend on emotions because they make you feel something different. So yeah, I think like for that reason that they can most definitely, it's just therapeutic all around, you know, with or without color. Yeah.
Hear that. And definitely excited to talk about a particular piece that you have in the works too, Molly. But before we jump there, I want to jump to Alyssa. You mentioned interconnected planes, and I remember your Twitter space interconnected. Are you still running those?
I've been pretty bad about it since I've been in New York City because I used to do them every Thursday at like 6 or 7 p.m. And now that I'm in New York City, it's just like there's always an event Thursday nights. So I've been trying to like find a new day and time to do it, but I've kind of just been taking a little break. But I really want to start like getting back into hosting weekly spaces. I feel really guilty that I haven't been doing them. So hopefully like in the next couple of weeks, I start bringing this back.
No worries. I know you're keeping like ridiculously busy at Station 3 right now. Late nights there. But
Yeah.
I was just asking because I was like, Molly and Matteo and I have to like jump on and rate it at some point.
Yeah. Thank
Um,
you.
But Molly, I know you have a big piece in the works. I believe it's like one of the larger pieces that you've ever worked on, and it's cool to watch it start to come together. But can you tell us a little bit about what you got going on?
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm working on a 22 by 30 inch paper right now. It's like a warm white paper. And I've also realized that this paper is a little bit unique. Like its quality is really unique compared to some of the other pieces, the other different types of paper I've worked on where the shading has to be done like way more carefully. So that has made me take a lot of time on this piece, and I am just purely just experimenting right now with this paper. I don't know if like, you know, the current paper that's like taped to my desk behind Matteo and Alyssa will ever be like a finished work in my eyes, but I think that it's just a big experiment. And I have like 4 other sizes of paper just like that are untouched. So yeah, I'm experimenting. I'm experimenting with that the size and dimension and whatever. I think that it has it's challenging, but I like it. And I mean, you know, generally it's going to take longer on those bigger pieces, but you know, I have 11 by 14, and then I have like a 5 by 8 sketchbook that I always have on me. So right now I feel like with these different dimensions that I'm working with, really it just comes down to time. You know, sometimes it'll take me a really long time, and sometimes it'll take me a very brief moment of time to complete an 11 by 14. But usually those dimensions do have like an effect. Yeah.
Love that. And I want to encourage everybody in the audience now. If you guys ever want to try to get a glimpse on what these artists are working on, you have to join us on the YouTube live stream, because we're live streaming from Station 3, a Web3 hub. If you are in New York City, also, you have to come out to Station 3, because it's just like creatives and artists and entrepreneurs all working together, and it's sick. But yeah, join us on the YouTube live stream. Just a quick reminder to check that out. It's pinned at the top, as well as to share the space, which is also in a pinned tweet at the top. But on that piece, Molly, I know you're doing some cool things with like the lighting and how it's coming, how you're like streaming the light onto the piece. Do you want to talk about that a little bit or no?
No.
Okay. I mean, I'm just reflecting a lamp. Like I'm reflecting a spotlight onto the paper, and I'm working with that. And I think, like, I mean, the shading and the figures, and it's just an installation at the end of the day. It's just a dynamic. It becomes more dynamic, and
you can say more. You can say more, like the collector that you're gonna give instruction to how to display the artwork and stuff.
I mean, yeah, like, you know, I plan on anybody that collects a piece of artwork that has light in it, which right now I've only sold 3 of those, and 2 of them have gone to Bob Lucas. One of them has gone to David Feinstein. I mean, you know, I've been communicating directions with them just through text and through calls with them, and you know, luckily I know these people, and Bob, of course, like, you know, Bob and I are in the same building together, you know, so there's been that element of connection, but I think like in the future that I want to like be able to use the metadata to really be able to put instructions in there, and not do anything that is doing too much and that's unnecessary, but just use the metadata to my advantage. You know, to just like in the descriptions of pieces, it'll be evident that there's like instructions in there, and there's certain like numbers and stuff, luminous flux. There's going to be like the power of the light bulb. There's going to be like the angle and distance of that specific piece. Like, so yeah, I'm experimenting with that more and more, and I'm just happy that I'm able to connect with people that find that interesting, you know?
Absolutely. Definitely looking forward to like watching you continue to just like come along. And also that like additional part of it in terms of you connecting with the people that are really appreciating like the minor details that you're putting a lot of emphasis on there. I think that's awesome. But wanted to ask Alyssa, I know Alyssa's recent vlog just came out. It was funny because I was like scrolling through it, and it was so cool to see just like people at Station 3. Like I remember this footage being shot, and like it's funny to see it on your YouTube channel now. But
Yeah.
Alyssa, can you recap the week at NYC for us?
So much happened, honestly. It started out, the first day was like the day that I met you, I think, at the mainnet panel.
Mhm.
So that was like a week and a half ago, probably. I don't know, I just take everyone along with me like every day of my life, whether it's like Web3 art related or just my life in general. I just think it's fun to like share that with people. So I talk to a lot of strangers. I started doing this thing where every time I like start talking to a stranger and I ask them if they want to be in my vlog, I'll ask them if they have like a piece of advice or a message that they want to share with the world. So that's been something really fun.
A lot of
What?
No, yeah, for sure. Here in New York, you can
Yeah, I
find
talk to so many strangers. I don't know. I think it's something about my energy. I feel like I have a very welcoming energy because strangers always like tell me their whole life story.
you can
And
find
I love
interesting people here in New York.
I have. So that's something I really want to incorporate into more of my vlogs is like just like talking to strangers. I think it's so fun. And I think that's like a really important theme of my art and why I create is like it always comes back to like this interconnected nature among all of us. Also, if anyone's at Station 3, I brought my game We're Not Really Strangers. So I'm gonna play with everyone.
Let's go.
It's like you play with two people and you ask each other really deep questions. And I was playing with some people yesterday and it's like really beautiful.
We'll get to know each other in literally seconds. I think we'll definitely run that at some point, guys.
Yeah.
But Matteo, you made it sound like you've uncovered some like interesting stories talking to strangers in New York, man. Any cool people you've came across?
No, I don't know right now. I'm just saying that it's easy to find interesting people here
Yeah, absolutely.
with different stories, different past.
Interesting than in
Yeah.
Italy.
I missed that, but we'll run past it. We'll cover it later. Wanted to, I mean, in terms of interesting people here, though, I know we got some cool artists in New York City that we did want to shout out, and we'll kick it back to Alyssa. Alyssa, I think you were mentioning Vinny Hager, and it was cool because I was talking to Potting the day before you mentioned him, and Potting was like, "Yeah, you like have to look up Vinny," and like I checked out his Twitter and immediately recognized his style. I was like so happy that she mentioned him just because I was like, I've noticed that style so much, like it just his work, it's so distinct. So I'm glad to have like finally came across the face. But Alyssa, can you talk about Vinny? And I believe there's an upcoming collection coming up too, right?
Yeah. So he just messaged me the other day and he's gonna be sending me some like custom postcard. Okay, I can't see the screen.
Do you need to see yourself?
Yeah, I do. I like to see myself on top.
I was just looking at the artist because I honestly don't know him. I changed the tab, and Alyssa apparently she needs to look herself when she speaks.
It makes me feel more comfortable if I know what I'm doing. Anyways, yeah, so he's coming out with a new collection and I think it's really cool. I just am a big fan of his art in general, but he is sending like some of his collectors and friends custom postcard art, so I'm getting one. I'm really excited. But I've met Vinny once or twice in real life, and I'm actually subleasing a room right now from a friend who's an artist who has a ton of his art in his apartment. So I'm just like, I have all of Vinny's art around me all the time, which is really cool. And I feel like there's something else I wanted to say about it, and I can't really remember, but yeah.
I'm looking up the collection. It's called Diary, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Do you know the concept behind it by any chance? I'm sharing. I just pinned it up to the Twitter space, and I'm sharing. I'll be sharing screen on YouTube in a sec.
Yeah, he actually wrote like a whole thread about it that I was reading the other day. It looks like
doodling.
This is his art. Yeah. Oops. Sorry. He wrote a whole thread about it. It's on his Twitter if anyone wants to check it out. But I think it's really kind of just like an homage to like his art over since like 2016 to now, and it's like I think from his like diaries or like journals, and I think there's 100 pieces total, and they're broken down into 12 categories or like diary entries. And they're just like different styles and kind of like phases that he went through when creating art, which I think is really cool. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, it is really cool because it feels like, you know, you can still see a lot of like the patterns that I find of his work to like be iconic, and you can see that like trickling in years back, and it's cool to see how it's progressed over time. But Jumping ahead, I know, Molly, there was also an artist that you mentioned to me. I believe Quampo was the name, right? Molly, can you hear us?
Yeah, sorry, I was muted. Yes, yeah, Kwampa is sick. Like his art is sick. And I've just been watching his journey for about probably maybe 6 months now. Was the first time I discovered his art, and I've seen the growth, and I just the growth and like people also recognizing his art. But I also got to do a one-of-one trade with him maybe about like a month ago now. With one of my smaller pieces, the Ebbs and Flows. He ended up collecting the piece called Rococo Melts by me. I ended up collecting a piece by his called The Abyss and the Abysmal. And, his work is something that I would recommend to anybody to get into. He has a lot of work, and you can like find it all on his Twitter and like just everywhere. And it just kind of like melts your brain. I think that's the number one reason why I'm super drawn to it. I kind of like can see this like maybe this like architectural design with some of it, and then I also just see like how the chaos just is. There's layers to his work. It's like an onion that you can unpeel, and yeah. So I'm gonna shout his name from the rooftops because I just think he's amazing, and he's also just an amazing person. I've gotten to know him more and more. So he's not like New York based or anything, but yeah, just an artist that I appreciate.
Hell yeah, check out his work now. Also just pinned it up to the Twitter space, but definitely recommend everybody takes a look. This is like extremely detailed. And I feel like there's probably a lot of like little minor aspects of this that we could dive into. Would love to talk to Kwampa about it, to be honest, at some point. But I think that's awesome there. And Malls, I know that you got some cool ideas cooking at Station 3. I see that there's a plant hanging up in the actually, Alyssa, Matteo, can you introduce us to Wait, Alyssa, can you say it again?
I can't hear you.
Can't hear. Are we muted?
I think you might be covering the mic
Wait, can you hear me now?
very faintly.
Oh no. What the heck?
You might just have to scream from the rooftops.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay, this is our plant named Feta that Molly got, or no, Matt got for Molly. Well, for us, I guess. And then Molly got a little bamboo plant that's right behind me. You can see that. We're still working on a name.
Gotcha. Wait, the tall one? The tall one needs a name, right?
Yeah, we need to name it.
Yeah. Isn't there a third one that's like kind of by the window but lower?
Yeah.
Does it have a name yet?
No.
I don't think so.
I think that everybody should have plants wherever they're working, especially if it's like more of an office-y, like you come there every day to grind and get it. And I think that like I guess for Station 3, yeah, Matt. So my friend Matt, he is such a just absolute amazing person and human being. Like he we were like talking one day about, I was showing him my art. I was showing him how the light shines on the page. And then this guy literally went to a plant store that same day, like an hour later, and came back with that Swiss cheese plant. And that's the name of the plant, Swiss cheese, because it has holes in its leaves. And so the light shines through. And it's just really intentional. It's just like, like little things like that just can absolutely like the vibrancy just explodes. And yeah, so I visited a plant store yesterday in Soho, and I don't mind sharing it because I haven't announced it to the Station 3 people, but I plan on getting like a little plant for everybody and just gifting it to them, because I just think that that's the perfect thing to gift to somebody, is something that you can nurture, and it's just so fundamental. And especially like downtown financial district, Manhattan, like there's not a whole lot of like nature. So I think that everybody could use a little plant on their desk if they have one. Yes, that's the plan.
So down for a plant on the desk. I think that myself and the guy next to you guys, Alyssa and Matteo, in the Twitter space or in your guys' room, are gonna sit down and have a drink, and we're gonna like decide our plant names for an hour.
I'm down.
So just some quick foresight there. But yeah, I think that's awesome. I think it's a really cool idea. Happy to support and grab content too, on that end. And also on that front, I know I feel like we've all had some like cool talks on content recently. Wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that. Content in Web3. In Web3, I think that there is a lot of people who still like want to be doxxed and completely like respect that and those reasons. But also think there's a need for content in Web3 because we've seen it pop off in a number of other different industries. So just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on, as like Alyssa, you being a content creator yourself, and then like Molly and Matteo, me doing some recent like film work on you guys. How important do you think is the emergence of content essentially in Web3? Kicking that.
I don't feel like it's just in Web3.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel social network make us create content every day because you need to post every day on Instagram, tweet every day on Twitter, X. So it's that. It's more like you need to produce content every day to keep the engagement, to post every day. So I think it's like the social network, and that's brought us in this level.
Do you feel like people are doing that currently though? Do you feel like people are posting as much content as maybe other industries, or as much as they should be to hit their goals in Web3?
I feel like it's like a different type of content. Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I feel like the content that people share in Web3 is just a little different in the sense of like there's a lot of like Twitter and like threads, and I think like Substacks or whatever, like like things like that, like newsletters. That's like I think a really big type of content, but I think it's very different than like Web2, which is very Instagram, like video, photo content heavy. That's why I feel like it's kind of cool for me like making videos, or like for you like making videos. I think it's a little bit different, and it's kind of exciting to bring that into the space because it seems like not a lot of people are doing that. And also I feel like since I've been in New York City, I haven't been as good about like tweeting and like putting out that type of content, but I also feel like being in real life and having like an in-person community is really powerful. So it's kind of like just finding that balance.
That's for sure. Less time on Twitter, more time with people.
Yeah.
That's so, like, get that tatted on your forehead. Like, that's so important. There is an importance to having an online presence depending on what you're doing. Like, there are some people that like their network and their main source of income is coming from like a small group of people, and that serves their vision and everything, and that's great. But I think that when it comes to like content, I think like it depends on like what your own vision is first, and then like it just takes experimentation, and then like I think that beyond just your own vision and experimentation, you have to understand that there's niches already existing, which I think that Web3 is a niche that exists that's extremely from like the hustle all day, 8 hours a day on Twitter, reply, do all this stuff all day. It's just like really unrealistic. I think that it's very superficial because I think that at the end of the day, like you can have a bunch of engagement and then you might not be able to sell a single thing in your life, whatever whatever it is that you're trying to build that engagement for. Like I think that there just has to be like a certain level of like authenticity and intention behind it. And I think that just constantly experimenting is really important. That's what I've learned. Like, I used to host Twitter spaces that were massive, and I used to spend a lot more time on Twitter because I just like had to literally like keep up with all of this replies and just crazy. It was a lot. But then I realized, like, that's great. That was a great moment. But how am I going to continue to elevate what's most important to me, which is the art and the creation? And then naturally, I think that transitioned me into like using what I had built to go to somewhere like New York City. And now almost all of my work that I'm doing is in person. And it just kind of like reflects online naturally. I think that there always has to be growth, but growth doesn't just mean quantity. Growth means quality at the end of the day. To me, it does. I feel like, yeah, video is great. Video is great. I feel like that's one thing that we all have in common right now. Just like with you, Steven, like doing a lot of video, and then Alyssa being blogging a lot. I think that that's just a really great form of content.
Wait.
By the way, Steven, send me those videos you took of me because I need content.
I got you. Yeah. I'll be chopping them up and I'll create a shared folder for us.
I'm joking.
No, no worries. I think first and foremost, dude, Matteo, if you ever fall asleep, man, we're gonna have to write that tattoo on your head. We got two other artists in the room that can make it a really, really pretty like script or font, and we're gonna have to. You better watch out, man. But yeah, Alyssa, I also wanted to ask. Speaking on Alyssa's vlogs, did either of you guys end up in Alyssa's vlog this week? Because I found it so funny when I just like I turned it on and I was like, oh shit, I'm there.
Yeah, you were in like.
Who, me?
No, Steven, but you were in it too.
You didn't pay
Molly
me.
was in it for a second when we were walking back from the break room.
I didn't sign any contract. You didn't pay me.
Once I start monetizing myself on YouTube, you can get 1%.
Okay.
Wait.
No, not work for me.
We're all gonna come after Alyssa, yeah. Once
Yeah.
pops up, because Matteo and I are just killing it with the entertaining faces in the background. But yeah, I think it's cool. Like, content's a really, really cool topic, and I'm excited to like watch it grow in this space, just because I feel like people are starting to invest a little bit more time and effort into it. And us all being together, I think it just like provides an awesome opportunity here at Station 3 for us and like others in this community to just like create fun content together and just like get it out and see how the world reacts. This last I started coming to Station 3, I think last week was my first week, and I've had like so much freaking fun being here. But nonetheless, I think another cool topic is royalties. I know that that's always a topic that is always on the forefront of people's heads. And Molly and I talked about it a bit with a friend at Eddie Wharton. I think it's at EA Wharton on Twitter, so definitely give him a look. And we had a cool conversation on it the other day. But I think the topic was whether royalties should fall more on like the seller or the buyer. I guess like my 2 cents, and I know this is a common take, is that the buyer on a secondary work is looking to get into the interaction, and then the seller is looking to leave the interaction. So I think it does make sense for the buyers when trying to enter to take responsibility there, as they would be probably more willing to pay them than somebody that's looking to leave the interaction. But wanted to get your guys' thoughts on pros, cons of paying royalties or collectors not paying royalties, or where responsibilities may fall. Any additional thoughts there?
Seeing from the NFT collection, like NFT collection space, where the buyer is paying the royalties, maybe makes sense. I mean, I don't know. It's not a big deal for me, royalties.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like, I don't know. I just feel like the majority of people who collect my art aren't really reselling my art. So it's kind of like, I definitely think royalties are important and I want them to be enforced, but I also feel like it doesn't really affect me that much at this point. So I don't know if I really have any fully formed thoughts. But I don't know. I don't want to like say something without.
For sure, like if you're dropping like I don't know, 50 pieces per year, maybe you want the royalties on because maybe there is a lot of like volume on your project and stuff. But if you're like just like if you're are an artist and you're dropping like a piece, one piece, couple of pieces per month, you don't care about royalties.
I think that royalties at the end of the day really serve people who are here to gamble rather than to collect fine art.
Exactly.
To collect art. It doesn't have to be fine art. Just to collect art and support artists. I think like I think that that's why royalties exist and is such a major like I swear like I've only been in this space for a little less than a year now, and I feel like I've heard the same things, trends about like the royalty discussion on and off, on and off, on and off. People will start freaking out, oh, they're taking royalties away, and then they'll forget about it, and then they'll start freaking out about it again 6 months later, and it's the same situation. And I think that if you're an artist who is just creating and you're like, I feel like for the three of us here, like Alyssa, Matteo, and I, like, if royalties doesn't affect us, that means we're probably doing something right because we're selling our art to people who are collecting it to not resell it for a profit. And, you know, I think like that's a great position to be in. I think that if you're somebody that's creating a PFP project or you're dropping like a massive collection of something that has some type of energy to it that's like supposed to really play within the market, like, and, you know, get a bunch of volume and all this stuff, like, excuse me, I think that that's when royalties becomes important.
Yeah. Royalties became important for like a NFT collection, where it's like a project behind where after the minting money they get, they need anyway like a sort of income to keep the project alive. But for an artist, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, but like that literally just reveals at the end of the day that collection is playing the trends. I think that I think like playing the trends, that's what some people make their living off of, right? Like at the end of the day, you're just like you're analyzing the market and you're like gambling, but you're really, really good at it. If you're like, you know, like you're able to predict things. I don't know. But I think like if you don't play the trends and you're just like creating whatever it is you're creating and you're putting it out there in the world, like, and you're building an authentic community based off of that and not based off of trends, then I do feel like you don't have to worry about royalties, you know. So I really, when it comes to the royalties thing, I think that it's interesting because like when we were talking with Eddie the other night, Steven, he started talking about just like choices of like buyer and seller choices. And I think that's interesting because I think like, what if you're in a situation where somebody collects your artwork early for 3 ETH, and then a year later, 2 years later, they have the opportunity to sell it for 50 ETH. Like that could be life-changing money. That I think that is a situation where me as an artist, if my collector sells that piece and takes that type of life-changing money off of that, I can't be upset at that. That's actually probably pretty good for me too, because this piece of art increased in value that much. I think like
but not even that, like you should remember that this guy invest on you in your beginning of your career, so like it's a lot.
Yeah,
it's easier to buy an artist a piece from like already like a famous or like a known artist, and it's harder to buy from like a new artist, you know.
Yeah, I think that's a great point.
I think as well that like and the last thing I'll say on this, because I think it's really unique about this space, it's very unique to this space, is like at the rate that art can increase in value in this space is very, very fast compared to the traditional world. Like there, you know, like it's not uncommon to find an artist who was originally selling their one of ones for an ETH, 3 ETH, whatever, a year ago or 2 years ago, and is now like selling their pieces at Christie's or selling their pieces for like 20 ETH plus, 50 ETH plus, like regularly. I think that that's a really unique thing about the space, because even if it looks really healthy, I'm a little bit like, what does that still mean for 100 years from now for that art? Is it going to increase in value exponentially like that 100 years from now and be worth like $1 billion, like millions and hundreds of millions of dollars? Like, is it really going to do that? I don't know. I think that this space kind of begs like a little bit of like a unrealistic like growth, but I do think that there are the artists that are going to harness it and they're going to use it to their advantage, and they're going to just come out on top. But royalties is just such an interesting conversation, because it's also like really new. Like the artists have never been in a situation before where they've had to think about royalties, like, you know, until NFTs.
Hell yeah. It's a really, really interesting topic. And I 100% agree that it like kind of topic like dies out, and then it just like becomes this big thing that everybody like argues about for like a month, and then it like dies out. But
engagement farming.
I literally thought royalties were gone months ago, like when we had this whole conversation last time, and then I saw on Twitter everyone talking about it again, and I was so confused. I was like, I thought they were already gone. Like I don't know. I can't keep up.
yeah, and also I like your guys' perspective on it in terms of just like doing your thing regardless of like what's going on with all of that. It's like, as you know, as you continue to like put the work in and like make just tremendous art, and also like build your networks and like take care of collectors, etc., it's like you don't really have to like worry about those things as much at the end of the day. People are going to want to continue to hold their pieces, and if they do sell something that they bought from you at 3 ETH, as like Molly said, and then you flip it for 50 ETH years down the road, there's like a tremendous amount of like respect there. They did, as Matteo said, they invested in you at like an early point in your career, and that amount of support could be helpful, as well as like the right collectors. Your work falling into like the hands of the right collectors can also do a lot for an artist brand. I think that's really cool too.
I also have this just had this thought, like I feel like also the difference between artists that are like on NFT or like in this Web3 world, they are more willing to buy art from other NFT artists, and maybe the traditional artists, they are not so spending on other artists, you know. I feel I don't know, I just thought about this, and am I wrong?
You're right.
No,
You're right.
I think that's one of the coolest things. Go ahead, Alyssa.
We can discuss that next time.
Yeah, we are coming up on time. Do you want to encourage anybody that has questions? If you're in the YouTube live stream, definitely shoot us questions in the comments and we can rattle them off quickly. Also, feel free to shoot questions in the comments on the Twitter space too, and we'll take a look at those in a moment. But coming up on time, want to give you guys a chance to share. I know we covered some stuff you're working on, but any closing statements or things we could keep an eye out for? We'll kick it over to Matteo first.
Sorry?
Giving you guys the chance to just share any closing statements or things we should keep an eye out for.
If you're in New York, come on Thursday. Come and meet me. In real person and on Twitter.
Yep. To keep an eye on Matteo's social medias for info on that. You could also check out Soiree Henzo on Instagram. It's SOIREE_HENZO. And you can grab event info there.
I'm gonna tweet the link after. Actually, I didn't yet. But
then easily grab it from at Matteo Purple on X. Dude, I'm so hyped for that. Like it's going to be really cool to just see like you walking into there with some digital work and physical work. And that event just has like a tremendous amount of energy behind it. So it should just be like a real cool creative outburst. But Alyssa, how about you?
My foundation piece for the foundation world is coming out on the 31st, and I'll be tweeting about a space that I'm going to be doing before that happens. But I don't know, I feel like there's so many other things kind of like in the works right now, so I'll definitely be like sharing more details on that soon. But I'm really sad I can't go to the soiree Hanzo thing on Thursday because I'm going home. Maybe I can for like an hour. We'll see. I hope I can make it.
We'll convince her to go for an hour.
Okay, I have a train back home at 7. What time is it start?
6.
Yeah, I don't think I'm
Yeah, it's tough.
I'm sad. The next month if they do ever.
No vlogging.
I'll be there next month. Don't worry.
We'll do a special guest vlog where it's like Molly, Matteo, and I just take the vlog for a day and we run it.
Also,
I
I read about that this event is gonna be the only art event open, like gallery event open on August on that day, because usually all the traditional gallery are closed.
Oh, and I think that happened last time. I think it was like the same thing last time. Which is interesting. Like I just remember Jay Kenzo, the one who runs the event, saying that like he was strongly advised by a lot of Cat Chelsea galleries like not to run the event that day, and they did it anyway.
And there was like 300 people. So
yeah. So it's definitely a cool event that they got brewing. But Molly, things we could keep an eye out for, or any closing statements?
Well, I have to run really soon. I have to catch a train back to Station 3, but I do have something coming out that I can't announce yet, and it's killing me. I haven't been able to announce this for like over a month now, like almost 2 months, because I have to wait for them to announce it first. So, but it involves art. So there's your hint. It involves a piece of art.
Okay,
cliffhanger on that end, but that one is like really special. I'm excited for you to, when you are able to share it, to let everybody know, because like I remember when you told me about that and I was like, holy shit, that is like sick. So
I'm nervous, but
no worries. So keep an eye out on all of these incredible artists X accounts. At Molly _McCutcheon, at Matteo Purple, and at Alyssa Stevens _ all on X. Definitely keep an eye out for everything that they got going on. Also, a quick shout out to Station 3 for bringing us together in this wonderful community. Everybody here is awesome. You guys probably see it popping off on your social media at Station 3 NYC everywhere. It is like just as hype in real life as it seems on social media. So if you're in the New York City area, definitely come through and hang out with us all. And lastly, want to do a little call to action to subscribe to our newsletter. We'll be writing about Station 3, the artists up here and wonderful artists in the New York City area, and just other artists in the Web3 art space in general. We had a little recent interview with at Tyler's Journey, which was really cool. So check that out this week. Subscribe to that newsletter. You'll get some awesome Web3 art content. And thanks to everybody for joining. Shout out to the audience. You guys are awesome. Shout out to the artists, and we'll catch you next time.
Like, comment, subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe. There's Matteo plugging us for the end. Take it easy, guys.